In today's show, we're going to go over the big board of free agents who I have the Detroit Lions looking at. All of these players are players that I would like the Detroit Lions to get. Now, it doesn't mean it's just one. There's multiple positions in this bad boy. Offense and defense, that's how we're going here. Predominantly defense, just an FYI. We do have some needs for this football team. Kicker is a significant need for the Detroit Lions. I feel like that's something that could be addressed in the draft, so you're not going to see a kicker on this list. Defensive tackle, the Lions need help opposite of Aleem McNeil. We're going to go ahead and talk about some free agents the Lions can get there. Guard position, huge for the Detroit Lions. Go over some guards here. Edge rusher, the second biggest need on this list, opposite of Ada Hutchinson. Number one need here that I have is the cornerback position. The Detroit Lions got to get better at corner. We're going to go 20 through 1, 20 being the least valued, 1 being the number one player on my big board. 20, Dan Skipper, just bring him back. Now, the reason I have him on in this list here is we'd use him as a swing tackle, the sign meter. I got 5, not because of his ability on the field, but because this guy is a Detroit Lion through and through. So, look, we're going to be doing backup seating here. This is a backup role. This is also a player that can be used as swing tackle. We've seen him utilize the tight end position, moved all around. So why not bring Dan Skipper back? Depth, good player, good guy, gets it done. He's not the most prized free agent, but I like Skipper. So I put this bad boy on the list as the number 120 free agent for the Detroit Lions to pick up. Folks, if you're not subscribed, that's crazy. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. We're trying to get to 63,000 subscribers in 64, 65, and continue on. Hit that subscribe button. 20 on my list. How about Javon Kinlaw? Javon Kinlaw is a very good interior defensive lineman for the San Francisco 49ers. If he doesn't get franchise tagged, why not take a look at the big DT? Kinlaw here, 3.5 sacks this year, 13 solo tackles. This guy's a good player, and I don't think it's going to cost a whole lot. The biggest issue for him, in all honesty, is his age at 26 years old. But I think he'd be a good value for the Detroit Lions interior defensive line. This would be someone that's more of a younger player, and you can help out and get better getting after the passer. He could do that for the Detroit Lions. Number 18 on my list, he's a former Detroit Lion. How about getting Evan Brown, offensive lineman, guard from the Seattle Seahawks? We had him last year. Last year he went to Seattle. We liked Evan Brown, but he's not a free agent, so maybe you could pick him up just in case. Maybe you don't get to bring Graham Glasgow back. Evan Brown is complementary to him. He's a good depth player. He could play center and guard. Number 17 on my list is Josh Reynolds. He's still a Detroit Lion, right? Yeah, he dropped the big passes in the NFC Championship game. With that said, he's been a good contributor for the Detroit Lions this year in the last couple years. Him and Jared Goff on the same page. It's going to basically cost nothing to get Josh Reynolds. Veteran minimum wide receiver. He already understands everything, and it would help the Detroit Lions out. It would. For my number 16 player on my list, how about going after Sean Bunting, cornerback, Tennessee Titans? It's going to cost a little bit of money here. 2 years per spot track, $13.5 million. But he's a hell of a cornerback for the Tennessee Titans. 29 years old. He's a guy, he's a plug and play. I think he'd be a good, number 2. I mean, you figure him or Ken Sutton to figure out that number 2 position there. He could be utilized, I think, sometimes number 1, but I don't think you'd want him in that position. But it's not going to cost too much, and you can get a good veteran right there if you ask me. We need to target veteran cornerback significantly for the Detroit Lions. It's not even a question of should we not. We have to. You know I love Prize Picks, and we're going to get into this right now because Prize Picks is a great way to make extra side money. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS. They'll match your deposit, match up to $100. And if you want to spice up your NFL Sunday or any day when sports are on, NBA, NHL, college, whatever, go to Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. And if you're looking to have more fun on game day, Look no further than Prize Picks. Want to play alongside some of Prize Picks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz? You can now find community plays in the promos tab of the app to view entries some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. Prize Picks even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second half, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. For tonight's game, I got Isaiah Hartenson getting more than 9.5 points per game, and Pascal Siakam getting more than 20.5. So get started with Prize Picks right now. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS, for a deposit match up to $100. Why is it code CLNS? Because that's our ad agency partner. Use code CLNS. It's real easy. 4 letters got $100 match when you sign up. So download the app today. The link will be in the description and comment section of this video. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS. Kenny Moore is a cornerback from the Indianapolis Colts. He could be somebody the Detroit Lions, again, get at that cornerback position. A veteran guy. That's something that the Detroit Lions really, really need. He's a really good corner for the Indianapolis Colts. I think here he would be an upgrade over Sean Bunting. He's an upgrade over what we currently have right now. He could help out the Lions significantly. He could. And again, I think you pair him up with a rookie cornerback whom you draft. The Detroit Lions secondary is in much better position right now. Quick question for you. Should the Detroit Lions go big in free agency? B for big or P for pass? If you want to go to the Dollar General and get free agents, let me know in the comments below. Donovan Peoples-Jones, Detroit Lions free agent wide receiver. Just like when it comes to Josh Reynolds, going to cost you nothing to get him. He'd be a 5 receiver on the football team, or 4. Depth is just as important in free agency, if not more important than getting starters, is having those individuals that can help out the team in the long haul. He would be somebody I would look at going forward. If you want to get better in the secondary, how about Jalen Johnson, cornerback from the Chicago Bears? 4 interceptions on the year. He is a playmaker. Now, they're probably going to try to re-sign him back. But again, they did allow him to seek a trade at the trade deadline. The Detroit Lions need help at cornerback significantly. He's a younger guy. He's a playmaker. I think he would be a massive upgrade for the Detroit Lions if you're wanting to get better secondary help. A.J. Epenesa would be a good player upon that edge. I actually liked him coming out of the draft a couple years ago. A.J. Epenesa, he's a player that can get it done. He's got 6.5 sacks on the year, 15.5 for his career. He's young, only 25 years old, and he's a player that can get those QB hits, right? He's got about 10 QB hits. He's in the tackle for loss. I think that's somebody the Lions could get for a rotational defensive end. I'm not saying the stud number 2 guy, but a nice rotational player, if you ask me. That's what I look at when I see this young guy. Next player on my list, number 11 on my list, someone we're familiar with as well, is Brock Wright, the Lions' number 2/3 tight end. Bring him back. He's been here. He's going to cost you nothing. Brock Wright is a good number 2. He gets it done in the run game. He can pass protect. That's really important as well. And every once in a while, this guy can catch a football for a big play. It's going to cost you nothing. We need to get better on the guard position. Again, we're going to put multiple guards in here, and I decided to go Dalton Risner here. Again, there's other guards, right? But we have to look at multiple guards here. I think he would be a good backup, rotational backup, not necessarily starter for the Detroit Lions. He did some good work over there for the Minnesota Vikings and some bad work. I do think he would be better over Wushika. I do think he would be an upgrade from him. So if you're wanting to get a better backup, Dalton Risner is a guy the Detroit Lions could look at. Number 9 on my list is ahead of Dalton Risner. Is just bringing back simply Graham Glasgow. We know what he can bring at the right guard position. He could play center as well. I would prefer him over Dalton Risner, even though he's a little bit older. With that said, you know what you have with him. And I think knowing what you have with somebody is extremely important. Let's continue on. Jonathan Greenard, there from the Houston Texans, had a phenomenal year for the Houston Texans. 12.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 36 sole tackles. You want to get a really good player? You want to get a guy who can sack quarterback and young, 26 years old? That's my guy right there. Greenard right now. Now, he's probably going to I have a feeling he'll go back to Houston, but there's nothing wrong with giving a try. Question for you. If you had a choice between one of the big 2 edge rushers on the market, who would you sign? Josh Allen, put J for Josh Allen, or D for Danielle Hunter? Make that a comment for this video. Let's continue on here and get into the top 5 players. Let's continue on here with James Houston, number 7 on my list. The Lions will bring him back. Situational pass rusher. He's got to get better in the run game, but he is young. We drafted him. Bring him back. See what he can do this season when he's not injured, in which he was this year. Number 6 on my list, CJ Gardner-Johnson. I personally don't mind if he comes back or if he leaves. He's still a playmaker. He still has a lot left on the table. He's young. This one's going to come down to contract. What is he looking forward to? Will he come back on another 1-year deal because of the injuries that he sustained? Big time question mark right there. Put him on number 6. Kendall Fuller on my list. I would love to get better at the cornerback position, and Kendall Fuller is getting it done here. 28 years old. He's a really good cornerback. Again, you would pair him up with the rookie whom you draft. It's going to cost you money to get Kendall Fuller. 3 years, $42 million. But you want to know what? He's a number 1, and I think that him and Cam Sutton would do a great job, much better. And then you draft a guy to pair him up there. Your cornerback position is much better. And that's what it's all about, is getting better. Now, look, when you look at all the corners in free agency, not the biggest names in the world, not the best names, but you're looking for an upgrade and somebody who can start immediately, and then you have that rookie who's getting experience, and then he can come in. That's the best way to go. Number 4 on my list, Josh Allen, a linebacker / edge rusher from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Really good player. I wanted him over TJ Hockenson in the draft. He went before. He's still a good pass rusher, 25/26 years old. Young. Josh Allen and Aiden Hutchinson would be a wrecking crew at the edge position. He absolutely would be. Next on my list, Chris Jones, interior defensive lineman. If you paired him up with Aleem McNeil, it's over. You'd have Aleem McNeil, Chris Jones, Aiden Hutchinson, and maybe you get another edge rusher in free agency like a Danielle Hunter. Pair him up with another guy you pick in the draft. The Detroit Lions defensive line is significantly improved. Go big or go home. Number 2 on my list is Adoree Jackson, the cornerback from New York Giants. He's the number 1 cornerback on the big board for me. This guy is a really, really good cornerback for the New York Giants. Man, oh man, and that's what we need. We need a lot of balls being knocked down, and that's what he can do. He's going to cost a little bit of money, but he would be a much, much, much needed upgrade at the cornerback position. My number 1 selection here is Danielle Hunter. Everybody knows I like Danielle Hunter. 16.5 sacks this year. 28 years old /29. Just turned 29. This guy would be a wrecking crew for the Lions on the edge position. Him and Aiden Hutchinson, you have bookends. You can make it back to an NFC championship. It's going to cost you a lot of money. 3 years, $60 million. $20 million a year, but he's a baller, and you could probably do something with the last year, because then you're talking about Aiden Hutchinson, paying Aiden Hutchinson after him. Oh my God, this would be my dream case scenario. So again, we're going to ask you a question. Who would you take, Danielle Hunter or Josh Allen? One is older, one is younger. Really good pass rushers. Let me know in the comments below. I am very interested to see what you have on this one. And you're not going to get too crazy either one. Either one, you're going to do a good job for sure. Folks, in the upcoming videos, we're going to be doing mock draft next week. I'll have that out. Breaking news and rumors, a live show on Thursday as we continue on this offseason. With that said, folks, adios.